So how is everyone today? Welcome. This is a meditation and a exploration on the bliss that comes from the body, which produces a mind that is radiant. And when we look at this quality of mind that we are saying is of radiant expression, it is a mind that is not bound by a thinking pattern. It is a mind that realizes the fact, the pure and simple reality that thought exists for a reason as a tool, and that we are not at any given moment our thought. And that this thought is a product of the mind. The thought is not the mind. And to be able to recognize the distinction between the two is where we need to start to take our concentration consciously into. So the space between you and me, we can call that mind. So when you start to apply your concentration into the quality of space between you and I, this is actually you getting to know the fibers that weave themselves together in order to create mind. So the sensations and the state that you're experiencing is also of this place, mind. So you feel that quality. There's a stillness. There's an element of quiet that exists there. Just before and just after you think. And that quality of stillness is what we want to recognize again and again and again. So what is the sensation that comes from that place before you decide what it feels like? And that is the observatory of the yogi. You can map the entire galaxy from that place. Like literally, the rishis would sit with their eyes closed and map the entire Milky Way. But that's for a later story. So then what is receiving this, in a sense, transmission of the space is the body. So the body is a vessel, it's a temple, but it's also a tuning fork. And we want to attune the system that we call the body to the quality of space that you feel directly around the body, which is our electromagnetic field. The field is magnetized by the power of our mind. And when we start to really rest into this quality of space that we feel within the body, we give freedom and access to the mind to start to actually draw in an inspiration that is coming from a higher and deeper place. And this is meditation. This is why the yogi considers the practice of meditation to be such a blessing, because we get an opportunity to find the reality within the moment. And the reality is that it's ordinary, everyday magic. Literally, it's so simple that we bypass the beauty all the time. And within its simplicity, it gives a full range of opportunity for an experience. But there comes a time within your personal practice where you have to decide which way are you going to go. Is it into the randomization of potential choice, but this feverish following of threads of balance as they fade off into the distance? Or is it that you are going to decide to become incredibly conscious and present within the very moment that you're in, and become the decision maker that says, this thought is not a reflection of who I am. So therefore, this thought is not needed and is no longer useful to me. So in that moment, you fold the thought back into itself, into a dormant state. Understanding that this field of energy that is directly around you is the significance that exists within the space of the mind. This significance that exists within the space of the mind. And we want to attune the physical system of the body to a very specific vibration within the significance of the field. So that as we are working with the mind that is untrained, we can hold the space for it to happen. And it has to come from this body. Because this is the container, this is the vessel that is structuring a very specific pattern for the experience that you're having right now. And at the very root, at the very base of this experience, where we come and go from, is the experience of bliss, the Ananda. All you have to do is take one inhale, and you know exactly what I mean. And the deeper we go into the experience of the sensation of the inhale, the deeper the sensation of this baseline experience. So it becomes your choice, and in a sense, your discipline to adhere to that quality of space. You are the decision maker within this equation. And as the presence begins to grow, as you breathe in and out of this body, which is literally pumping energy through the vessel, it wipes the slate clean within the mind. In that instant, in that moment, there is a reflection between the body and the mind. And for an instant, the two become one. And this is a formal meditation in the easiest, most natural way. Your body is a bliss generating housing station. It houses this experience. And as long as you are breathing, you are pumping that energy through you. So when it is not that, it is only because you've decided that that shiny glimmer over there looks very interesting. But we all know that every time we go away from this grounded baseline experience into something that's shiny, we see, it's not real, it's not really there, I can't quite catch on to it, I cannot quite grab it. Or if we look at it long enough, it becomes dull. There's not the reflection that we see from this deep place within us, this well. So in order to train the body of bliss and the radiant mind to work together, then the two have to get to know each other as consciously as possible. Learning how to align the two so that there's a symmetry. Blueprints. The blueprint of the body and the blueprint of the mind sitting perfectly together, one upon the next. So your mind is not in your head. Your mind is the field that exists around and inside the body. This magnetism that you feel is actually your mind. And when we start to look at it that way, immediately we say, well, this is not so bad then. Because most of this distractive confusion is coming from the area of the mind which exists between your ears. So you have all this other mind that seems to be working just perfectly fine. And we want to actually start to ground into the reality of that experience. Because it's a very, very real experience. How does one do that? Well, on a very practical level, we just simply relax. But this relaxation is a very specific type of relaxation. It's a dynamic relaxation. So surrendering your body in such a way that it's as though you're not even here. But then at the very core of your sensory experience, you are completely engaged and active. And the engagement is literally coming from the core of your physical vessel. So how relaxed and how actively engaged can you be within a single moment? So we're not flexing. We're sitting upright, eyes bright, ears open. And beginning to develop an understanding of what's called pratyahara. So pratyahara is a state of being that is no longer invested in the thought distractions And this is exactly what we are talking about today. Pratyahara is the quality of space that you feel and that you see. But it involves all of the senses. So all of your senses are a part of your practice of meditation. All of your senses. So what does this space taste like? What does it smell like? How does it move through your nostrils? What does it sound like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? So now all of a sudden you're using your entire being and all of the tools that you have in order to engage this quality of mind and the space that it inhabits. So you're completely aware and present. And that's the tuning. Taking levels one at a time and bringing them to an equanimity. This equanimity found within the mind is considered to be a sattvic state. And from this state of balance, one then experiences the ananda, or the bliss, which is your universal God-given right. So then in the most loving way, we are working like a scientist in a laboratory. Realizing what is the perfect alchemy, mixture of oxygen, of light, of chemicals in the brain, in order to sustain this level of awareness. So it's actually not a question of whether or not you know how to take on a meditative practice. That you are born with. There's no learning necessary. But instead, it's a matter of whether or not you have fully made the decision to take on the work of your own personal mind and within that mind, your own personal life. So then what the technique of meditation does is helps to give some avenue of support to the working mind. right now in this room, as you listen to the words, you can see that there is a sensation that is connected to the words that you hear. There is a quality of spaciousness as you follow through the syllables as they are being stimulated. And ideally, we're allowing the process that's happening right now to penetrate very, very deep. So that then the next time you close your eyes, you can return back to this quality of space that you're finding in your meditation. And I'm calling this period right now meditation because there's no difference between your waking, walking, talking meditation and your seated, closing the eyes meditation. It's one and the same. The waking states of your meditation is the active, dynamic expression of. The seated, closed eyes meditation is you resting deeper and deeper and higher and higher. So we go from a deep rest, which is a complete surrender, into a dynamic expression, which is that central experience right at the core, which is holding at a very particular tension the body, as though you are playing an instrument. And throughout the entire day, you are literally moving your fingers through those strings. And in a sense, weaving the beautiful sounds, which then you call the story of the day. This happened, and this happened, and this happened. And how we show up and how we engage the different moments and landmarks of that story becomes the imprint that exists within the mind that you will then revisit at a later date. So it's not just moment to moment, but it's a pre-planned, predestined experience. Remember that you are the decision maker. So if you keep going through the same loops again and again and again, it's time to stop it. And become very, very clear with your decision, and you should just make it right now. This is the space, this is the time. We're in the quiet place. And make the decision. I am balanced, I am happy, and I am free. The quality of happiness which transcends all other experiences. It's the well of joy. And nothing ever needs to pull you out of that. You could have the saddest day of your life, but be in pure bliss. Let's not be afraid of ourselves. This is it. All of your sensations happen for a reason. They're there for you, not against you, ever, ever, ever. No matter how dark you may feel you get, it is never, ever against you. So therefore, you should then stop tricking yourself that there's something wrong. You start embracing the fact that you are in the presence of a practice. The art and culture of yoga goes back thousands and thousands of years. And it runs along a lineage of reincarnation. So lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, one revisits the same experience of process. So what if you've been here before, interested in the practice of yoga, working on oneself, seeing how beautiful life is and that there's something more to it than what you thought there was. And the more you allow your imagination to truly flourish within this potential, maybe there is something more, then the more the realization will come that, wait, in fact, there is. It's real. It's really happening. It's the imaginarium that creates your experience. It is real. So if you're done with the dark, then come over into the light. It's as simple as saying, I have a left hand and a right hand. If you're having a bad day, focus on your right side. Literally, get a little bit wild and spin 3 times to the right. But with the knowing that you're spinning yourself out of that which is not supporting your balance. It's the alchemy. So what is the correct balance and level of chemical within this brain in order to stimulate the experience? So the right-hand path is always the path of light. The left-hand path is considered to be that of the dark. But within the dark there is always the light. So we have to embrace both, but not all at once. The room doesn't have to get tense if I use the D word. Just keep spinning to the right until you're ready to come to the left. There's tons of light there. So the body is buoyant. It needs to become buoyant in order to stay within the rhythm of the bliss. Buoyancy needs to be there. So when you blow up a balloon, what are you using to blow the balloon up? That creates its buoyancy so that then when it sits on the river, it just floats on top. No matter what rapid is there, it just simply floats on top. So how you breathe within the body to create the container is actually what we need. So feeling the edges of the body and say, okay, this is my body right now. I breathe into my toes, my fingertips, my pelvic floor, the crown of my head, and everything in between, feeling the exact blueprint. With a slight squeeze of the Mula Bandha, which is the pelvic floor, just lifting slightly. Not overtly, just slightly. And then you increase the buoyancy. The big, large thoughts that weigh heavy on you are rocks that are attempting to sink your buoyancy. It's not a bad thing, it's just then you become this meditation at the bottom of the river. That's totally fine. But if you said, no, I'm actually done with that, and I want to stay buoyant and just follow this river all the way through to the ocean, then we have to train ourselves to listen to what we are saying and act on what we hear. So if you keep getting the same instruction and you say, no, 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 it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. But if you start to listen to the instruction, it becomes lighter and lighter and lighter, to the point where you get to know yourself so well that there's no words that are necessary. Imagine that. I mean, we should know ourselves the best. So that then the thought is maintaining its form of a wave, which is its lightest and most potent expression, which then maintains the equanimity of this conscious mind. It's like reading people. You read people all the time. The better you get to know them, then the easier it is to tell their subtle facial expressions and what they're thinking. I got it. Emotional body is there. So it's the same with yourself. So the meditation is then a blissful experience. It's not hard. Every time you go into something that is not this quality of bliss and not this radiance, this is not what we're looking for. And it's just a patterned expression. It's not necessary. You don't have to hold on to it, even figure it out. You don't have to know everything. Knowing something is storing it into your brain for a later date. Then you have to remember. Understanding something is the space of knowing nothing, but you understand that you are much, much more than what you see. And therefore, when you need to understand, the understanding will just start to come through you. When you need to know something, then you'll know it. If you don't know, then you weren't supposed to know. So everything then beyond your level of understanding is a pining for something that is not yet yours. So if it's not yet yours, but we are attempting to evolve, how do you then engage the steps forward in a balanced, grounded, light, expressive, understanding way? Santosha, contentment. Being absolutely, pristinely content with what you have. You're perfect. I remember for 6 months when I was 20 years old, I stared at a blade of grass for at least 3 hours a day. Just tears rolling down my face because it was so incredibly beautiful. The grass. And I was just in awe, and I would wander around lying in the grass or looking at the trees and the way that the wind played with the trees, and I could have died because I was just so incredibly enthralled with the fact that everything is everything. Everything makes sense. Everything is not needed because it is a whole and complete experience. We are literally the self experiencing the self having an experience. So therefore you are that which is the floor, the table, the flowers, the person sitting next to you. But the self experiences the self having an experience. So therefore you are an individual expression of the self experiencing the self having this experience, which is radiant. It's gorgeous. It's what dreams are made of. It's actually the stuff that dreams are made of. So then why not dream real? Dream it into your reality. Stop ignoring the imaginarium of the mind and say that my imagination is my creative genius and this is exactly how I see, exactly how it is. And accept how you see the world is how you see the world. And if it does not align, then all that means is you have to just shift your understanding of what you're seeing in front of you. What is that I see? If I am the self experiencing the self having this experience. And at the core of the flower, what is the vibration? At the core of the flower. And does it match me somehow? And if we can resonate, meaning vibrating at that level, then all of a sudden the thought formations begin to dissipate. And the peace and tranquility that is promised through meditation becomes your privilege. And it's not a matter of if you do this and if you do that. It's actually a matter of, okay, so then this is it. What I see in front of me is not really fully real. So therefore, it can shift and change. So the lens of the camera is the eyes. So then why not just shift the lens of the eyes a little bit to see if you can see something more within the space in front of you, not looking at any individual or anything, but that space in front of you. What do you see there? And making that a practice. So with the eyes opened or closed, your focal point, your gaze of meditation is the eternal expression, the quality of space directly in front of you, and all the stillness that exists inside. That quality of space is pure potential. So how you see any single object can simply change. You are the decision maker. You choose the lens that you look through. Positive experience or not so positive experience, you are deciding. You are completely intelligent and capable. You've been practicing yoga for a long, long time. This is not a new thing. You should just stop tricking yourself that you're a beginner. How could that be? This is an impossibility, literally. You're not a beginner. There's no beginning. Tell me when the beginning is. When you think back when was the first time you wanted to get onto a yoga mat? When did you decide to do meditation? When did you first feel something? When did you first think that maybe there's something to all of this? And it just keeps going back and back and back and back. So then the importance of this decision is up to you. How immediate is the experience that you're having. How immediate is this clarity? And if you're saying, well, it's not very immediate, well then how long is the delay? The delayed reactions that you have. Everything was such a good idea, and then all of a sudden 15, 20 minutes after your experience, you're like, wait a minute. Was that a good idea? No. All the questioning starts to come up. So there's these delayed reactions within your understanding of why you do the things you do, which means there's a misalignment. There's a misalignment between the inner and the outer, between the body and the breath and the mind, between your intuition and your understanding. There should be no delays. You are the most intelligent human being. You are the most intelligent human being. You are the most intelligent human being. And I think it's time that you prove it to yourself. Please close your eyes. Body of bliss, meaning sit however you want. Radiant mind, meaning do not accept any single thought as being anything significant. It is not your mind. But that beautiful spaciousness that you see in front of you, that eternal infinite, is exactly where you come from. Why? Because you breathe it in through your nose, which creates your life. So this is the giver of all of your experience as you inhale and exhale. Which maintains your buoyancy. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy your beautiful wanderlust. Namaste.
Namaste.